Good day, and welcome to the UFC 140 conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, for opening remarks and introductions, I would like to turn the conference over to Mr. Dave Scholler. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, everybody, for your patience today. Just to clarify, we had some issues with our conference line connecting to Brazil. So today on the call, we are joined by John Jones, UFC light heavyweight champion, Lyoto Machida, UFC light heavyweight title challenger. He'll be translated today by Derek Lee. Also on the call is Frank Mir, UFC heavyweight contender, and Minotauro Nogueira, UFC heavyweight. Also joining us is former UFC light heavyweight champion Tito Ortiz. Just before we get into the conference call, guys, I want to run through a couple of press events next week in Toronto so that you're aware. Everything kicks off on Tuesday, December 6th. We're going to do our Community Works event at the Rogers Center. Local UFC fighters will be taking part in an event with local at-risk youth. Helping us out there will be Mark Hominick, Sean Pearson, Sam Stout, and also joining them will be Matt Mitrione. On Wednesday the 7th, we will have our media open workouts from 12 to 3 at the Extreme Couture Gym in Toronto. And then on Thursday, we have our press conference. That'll take place at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be at the Bell Tiff Lightbox Cinema 1. That's located on 350 King Street West. We'll have all of the fighters that are on the call today partaking in both the workouts and the press conference. Jennifer, without further ado, if you would open up to the first question.
And if you'd like to ask a question on today's call, that is *1 on your telephone keypad. We'll go first to Matt Manzella with CagerReligion.com.
Good afternoon, guys. This one's for John, actually. John, you've had a very busy 2011. By the time it's done, you'll have fought 3 former champions. What's kind of been your outlook coming into the new year? And are you kind of looking to pump the brakes a little bit, or do you prefer the busier schedule?
The year's been awesome. It's been a great year. And, I'm really not looking at 2012 yet. So I feel as if supposed to have the opportunity to do something great. 2011, beating 3 former champions is an awesome goal. And that's my primary goal right now. So, when 2012 gets here, I'll put the focus back.
And just one follow-up for Tito. Tito, the same applies to you. The end of your 2011 really picked up, this being your third fight in 5 months. Are you looking to carry that same momentum into 2012?
100%. I think it really comes down just to being healthy. After having the surgeries I did, and be able to battle through them and be able to train now, like I used to train when I didn't have the injuries. I'm very thankful. I've got some great blessings from God and great surgeons who did great work on me. Many athletes don't compete after lower back fusion and neck fusion, but my heart and determination, I'm able to do a lot of things, I think, and let's do it 2012 also.
Thanks a lot, guys. Best of luck next weekend.
Thank you.
And as a reminder, that's *1 for questions. We'll go next to Neil Davidson with the Canadian Press.
Thank you. My question is for John. John, this will be your 10th fight in the UFC. Obviously, the stakes are very high now when you fight. Do you find that because of what's at stake that you got into this as a sport because you loved it, I take it. Now, is there more of a sense that it's a bit of a business for you with what's on the line?
No, not at all. It's not really about the business. It's about the passion and the love and setting goals and achieving goals. The thrill of being able to achieve goals that I set, it's strengthening me as a man and as a warrior and as an athlete. It's showing me that I can do great things and do whatever I put my mind to. So that's what it's really about. And, I try to look at each fight with the same mentality, the same mentality that I had a UFC debut, and that is no fight the big fight. I'll never fight the name, just fight the body, fight their reaction. And so that's the way I'm going into it. Another fight, so you got to train differently for everybody. But that's why I'm here.
Thanks very much.
We'll go next to Reed Forgrave with FoxSports.com.
This question is again for John. I'm curious how your preparation for this fight, without giving away your secrets, is different than your preparation for the Rampage fight?
I guess the biggest difference is obviously I had to find a lot of different southpaws to work with that was, fairly fast. And basically what I did was just use a lot of the guys that I already had, and I had to mimic, Machida style to the best of their ability. So that's the biggest difference. I mean, that's the only difference. Everything else is pretty much the same. I've fought a lot this year, and I've learned a lot about myself and how to train better and how to eat better and all these types of things. And I've taken all the knowledge that I've had from the Ryan Bader training camp, and then the Shogun camp, and the Rampage camp. Now this is the last one of the year. I've just been growing so much throughout all these camps. So I think this has been one of our most educated camps, and everything's in order.
Is there anything about Machida's game that you're most worried about, or that you're extra special preparing for?
No, not really. I just try not to worry. Leo's he's a new challenge, and really not going to fear when you're prepared. There's a quote that I state every fight, and that's, know yourself and you know your opponent. There's no need to fear the results of over 100 battles. And that's the mentality that I have. And I suppose if I know myself and my strengths and my weaknesses, I have a pretty good idea from all the footage I've studied of Leo's strengths and weaknesses. And there's no fear. When you do your work and you study, no need to.
Great, thanks, John.
We'll go next to Dave Diebert with Post Media News.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm gonna mix it up here and ask John a question. John, have you? It has been, you touched on it, such a busy year for you. Have you had any time to just think about and let soak in what you've accomplished so far in 2011?
It hasn't really been able to soak in. So many great, awesome things have been happening to me and in my career. It's been an awesome, phenomenal year. And, I haven't actually had time to think about how blessed I've been this year.
What do you have, if I may, what, Christmas plans, holiday season coming up after? Are you just going to, just completely kind of shut it down and just take time, win or lose? And just...
absolutely. Well, I don't think about losing. But, yeah, after this next one, I'll definitely relax. And I've already been talking to my two brothers and my mom and dad about getting together and going on a family cruise. Our family definitely haven't had much our whole lives. We've never been on a legit family vacation together. Now me and my brother in the NFL, we're all becoming successful. And I think it's about time that we do something nice for each other and enjoy a little bit of the fruits of our labor. We're trying to plan a family vacation, just really wine and dine my mom and dad, and just let them know that they've done a good job with us and that family time. So I'm looking forward to that so much.
Okay, all right.
I was saying not wine and dine because my parents don't drink.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I'll jump out. Thanks again, John.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Kevin Richardson with the Baltimore Sun.
Hey, this is for a question for Machida, and then I have one for John. But Machida, who have you brought in to your camp that can emulate some of the moves and the strengths of John Jones?
Lioto, ele perguntou quem que você trouxe, o que você fez no teu treinamento para simular um pouco a movimentação do John Jones.
Jennifer, can we make sure Leoto's line is unmuted?
Para isso, né, o Glover veio aqui, o Braddock, que é um cara do K1, veio aqui também, o King Mo está aqui ainda. E basicamente isso, e a gente procurou, né, adaptar o jogo, sempre parecido.
He brought in a few guys to his camp in Belém. He brought Glover Teixeira, who's a heavyweight from Brazil, Anderson Braddock, who's also a guy who's got a lot of K1 experience. King Mo also came down to Belém, and they created a whole strategy, and having those guys around really helped him out.
Next question for John. John, how are you going to deal with the fact that Machida is such a good karate guy? Who have you brought in to help with that? Because I don't know if you've actually fought anyone, at least I've seen in UFC, that actually, kicked. I mean, most of the guys wanted to stand up with you or wrestle with you, but no one really wanted to kick with you.
First I would have to disagree. I fought Brandon Vera, who's a guy who fights both southpaw and orthodox, and I've watched him leg kick KO several people, whether they're kicks to the legs or the head. I've watched him knock out lots of people with his leg kicks. Then I fought Mauricio Shogun Hua, who also has amazing kicks. Stephen Bonner, a guy who's going to go Taekwondo, has amazing kicks as well. So the thing is, not really focused on what they're amazing at, and focused on what I'm amazing at. And that's what I try to do every fight. I'm not really worried about the threat. I worry about what I need to do.
Okay. One other quick question, if I can ask, for Frank Mir. Frank, when you win this next fight, do you see yourself back in the heavyweight picture in a year or two for the championship?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the advantage of the heavyweight division is it's not that deep of a pool. Just this is the nature of the business. And so at that point, if I'm victorious next weekend, that's 3 wins in a row. I think that puts me right up there again.
Good luck to all you guys, and see you in a week. So bye.
Hey, thank you, buddy.
All right, next we'll go to Damon Martin from MMAweekly.com. Damon, go ahead.
First question is for Frank Mir. Frank, this is a rematch, obviously, and there were some people curious only because of the way the first fight ended. It was a TKO, it was a pretty dominant performance. Were you amped? Were you excited about this rematch, or is this just, the UFC offered you the fight, so this is the fight you got?
Obviously UFC came forward and offered me the fight, but, for the motivation for fighting it wasn't like it was a clear-cut victory as far as last time, and there was a lot of, words or circumstances surrounding the last victory as far as how legitimate it could possibly be due to, illnesses that Nogueira's camp had said that he had. So, it leaves it to where there's more unfinished business. So it's not the same as a normal clear-cut victory that would have had no excuses being said afterwards.
Does it anger you at all when those things come out after the fight? I mean, obviously, everybody goes into a fight, maybe not 100%, but does it bug you or anger you that those kind of comments do come out regardless?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think that anytime someone starts explaining, they can explain their performance. I've always been, keen on that. If you have an injury and you have an injured hand, if someone's asking why you didn't box more, you can say that you had an injured hand. But as far as I think, as fighters in general, anytime you state that, I lost because of an injury, I think that's a disrespect towards your opponent. It's like, no, the guy in front of you beat you. You didn't perform maybe to 100% because of an injury, but even that's regardless. There's many factors that go into the outcome of a fight.
Do you look at Nogueira? Do you think he's changed a lot since the last time you fought? I mean, he was on a bit of a losing streak. He came back, had the great performance with Brendan Shaw. But do you think he's changed a lot, or do you think he's still fairly the same fighter you fought the last time?
I honestly think, after so many fights, I don't think there's going to be that much of a style drift. I think that he's pretty much, his boxing on his feet and, jiu-jitsu on the ground are going to be his strong suits. I think the one thing that's probably helping right now is, obviously after such a devastating win, back down in Brazil, I think that, confidence has to be up higher, and that's a very dangerous thing for an opponent to have, you see it in all other sports when people's confidence is high. That could be the difference between doing something well or not. Sometimes it's not so much a technical hit; it's a confidence factor.
Excellent. And one quick question for John Jones. John, since winning the title and getting to where you're at right now, being UFC champion, there's a lot more responsibility with that, doing a lot of media, TV. I know you were at the MMA Awards last night. I mean, does that serve as a distraction at all? Is it harder for you now, or do you embrace that role as, kind of being a public face for the UFC?
I totally embrace the role. One of my main goals in the UFC is to try to change the sport for the better, try to elevate the UFC organization to different levels, reach different demographics, just to be someone great for our sport and change things up, elevate us. And I can't do that refusing to do interviews, or refusing to show up here, refusing to show up there. I got to get out there, get my face out there, get my personality out there. That's the only way I can start to make a change and get mainstream America aware of who I am. So I feel as if my main issue, my professional side and my particularly being an athlete side, are pretty well. I have a strong team of people around me. And, so I feel as if I handle it all well. I've been handling it well thus far, and that's what I plan on continuing to do. I remember right before the Nogueira fight, pitch for the Padres. That was one of the first times I stepped out and did something that had nothing to do with fighting right before the fight. And I went out there just having fun at the fight. And, with Rampage, I did Jimmy Kimball before the fight, and performed well. So I realized as long as I train my foot out, it really doesn't matter what I do before the fight. As long as my mind is in the right place, I'll be fine.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Neil Davidson with the Canadian Press.
Yes, I have a question for Tito and Frank. With this fight in Toronto, where the first time I was here, as you know, I had a record crowd, kind of an example of how big the sport has got. I wonder if you remember how much each of you made for your first fight in the UFC back in the day.
I fought for free. The first time I fought in UFC 13, I fought as an amateur. I fought for free. That's how much I was loved the sport, and I wanted to keep my scholarship in collegiate wrestling, so I competed as a free fighter.
Frank, do you remember?
Yeah, nothing too much to brag about. It wasn't for free, but by the time I got done paying back everybody, I think I owed money.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go next to Polina Rocha with Dario of Sao Paulo.
Hi, my question is to Lyoto. I'd like to know from him to talk a little bit of his career since the last time he lost the championship, but after that he had another loss to Rampage, but I know he's not happy with that because he contests a lot about this. But after that he had a great victory over Randy Couture, and now he's facing John Jones. I'd like him to talk a lot about his career since when he was in a very good position and he was a champion, and then he lost it, and now he has this chance and again to get it back.
Lyoto, ele quer que você fale um pouco da sua carreira no aspecto de que você era o campeão, invicto, acabou perdendo para o Shogun, perdeu para o Rampage naquela luta disputada, voltou, ganhou do Randy e agora está disputando o cinturão de novo. Como é que é essa descida e subida de novo ao topo?
Acho que isso faz parte, né? Isso faz da carreira de qualquer lutador, assim, e eu acho que toda carreira vitoriosa ela tem as suas subidas e descidas, né? Então eu aprendi muita coisa também com tudo isso, eu amadureci bastante nesse período e hoje com certeza eu sou um outro lutador.
He says it's something that happens in a lot of careers of guys. A lot of guys have really victorious careers, but there's ups and downs at some point. He says he's learned a lot from since winning the title and then losing it, then losing to Rampage, and then coming back. He's learned a lot. and he assures that he's a completely different fighter nowadays.
And now it's a quick one for our Brazilians that are in this conversation, like from Lyoto, Minotauro, and Minotauro, about this moment that the Brazilian fighters are facing in UFC. I know we have those champions, and now we have the chance to have the fourth guy champion, and like to know of them what they think about it.
Lyoto e Rodrigo, fala como é que está o momento do MMA no Brasil e essa nossa chance de ter mais campeão aí no meio.
Fala pro Rodrigo falar.
Fala, Lyoto.
Fala, Rodrigo. Fala aí, Rodrigo.
Acho que pra gente é um grande momento. O MMA cresceu muito no Brasil. The MMA is growing a lot in Brazil. Brazil is a good moment right now. The juniors fight, we had over 60 million people watching on TV, for the title, for the heavyweight title. So Brazil is a great time right now. The sport is the second sport in Brazil, and we are very happy. If Lyoto get a chance to have the fourth belt in Brazil, would be great. For the timing, the sport is going right now, doing really well. It's very popular. Everyone knows it's very, it's a good time. So we all supporting, the sport, and we're doing our best, all the Brazilian fighters.
Isso que o Rodrigo falou aí, que a gente está num bom momento realmente, e o esporte cresce, isso chama os grandes patrocinadores, as grandes marcas, né? E o público que não tinha o acesso, hoje tem a oportunidade de acompanhar com a TV aberta, que às vezes tem passado alguns eventos na TV aberta. Então, a gente se tornou mais popular aqui e com isso as novas oportunidades apareceram.
Lyoto says he agrees with Nogueira. This is a great time for MMA in Brazil. New sponsors are coming in. New companies are becoming interested in the sport. And now the fact that the UFC is on Global, which is open network in Brazil, gives it access to all the fans that can watch it before. And he feels that the fans have really grown a fan base in Brazil, and everyone's got access to it, so it's a great moment.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Bob Emanuel with Scripps Howard.
Tito, you only had a few weeks turnaround for your last fight against Rashad. With all the health issues you've had in recent years, how did your body react in the days after that fight? Did it take longer to recover?
Just depends how long the fight's over. After I fought Bader, it was only a minute and 6 seconds. I recovered the next day. I checked the kick, and I was swollen. After Rashad fight, I ate the knee to the chest. I think it kind of bruised my heart a little bit, and that took a good 2 months to heal. It just depends how the fight goes out and how it really ends. But sometimes it's not too bad, and sometimes it takes a little bit. That's just part of fighting.
You mentioned earlier about some of the spinal issues you've had. What type of changes, if any, have you had to make in training over the years?
Well, I think wrestling, snapping down, you use your head for a lot of positions, for double leg, single leg, high crotch, body locks. There's a lot of stuff that kind of put my neck in that jeopardy. And I think just getting my neck nice and strong and able to put those positions back again. Fighting Nogueira, he's a tough opponent, so, I happen to have my wrestling on par, but my boxing even better. So, those have been very huge challenges physically for me and emotionally, able to get in the gym, 5-6 days a week. I've been in this game for almost 15 years now, and my body's taking some damage, and I understand that. And, I just got to make sure I put in the right work. Cardio-wise, strength, my timing for my boxing, my kickboxing, my jiu-jitsu defense, offense, wrestling. This is mixed martial arts. It's everything you got to work on and make sure we do everything the right ways. And I think I've done it for this fight, and I'm ready.
All right, thank you.
We'll go next to Chris Doucette with Toronto Sun.
Yeah, I got a couple questions, actually. First one for Machida. Just wondering if we can expect to see Steven Seagal with him in Toronto.
Can we unmute the Yodo's line?
Fala, Derek, estou aqui.
A gente pode esperar ver o Cigal de novo com você em Toronto?
Olha, não sei, né? Não sei, a gente se falou muito pouco aí. Uma vez eu fui aí em Toronto, ele, naquela vez na press conference, falou muito rápido, mas pode ser que ele apareça assim. Não tem notícias.
He's not completely sure. They spoke when we went up to the press conference in Toronto about a month and a half ago, but they haven't really.
Derek, can you try that one more time? You broke up.
Cut out on me there.
My part?
Derek, try that one more time for us. We didn't catch your translation.
He says he hasn't really spoken to Seagal in a little bit. They spoke when we were up in Toronto for the pre-fight press conference, but they haven't spoken since really, but you never know. He could be there.
Okay, thanks. And then for John Jones, just wondering, it's quickly getting cold up here in Toronto, wondering if you've managed to find a place to meditate before your fight next weekend. Sorry, a week and a half from now.
Yeah, Greg Jackson already has the UFC on top of getting some minivan. And fortunately, Greg has no other fights the week of my fight, so I'll have his full attention the fight week. And me, him, and my coaching staff will take the minivan to a place that Greg already has in mind. He has a lot of friends in Toronto, Canada, and they've already found a beautiful place for us to plan their serenity before the fight.
Just maybe get a quick thought from Tito and Frank on fighting in Toronto. I mean, you didn't get to be part of the big spectacle back in April, but still a pretty big deal, I would think, coming to Toronto. Dana's called it the MMA capital of the world, or potentially anyway. What do you guys think about the chance to come here?
Yeah, Showdown Joe actually talked to me a little bit about it, and I'm excited. I'm very excited to fight in front of other Canadian fans, and so much support I get from them through Punishment Athletics. I get to tell by how much love they have for me through my career, and I think it's been a great opportunity for me to just showcase my skills and put on a show and get my hand raised as I want to do.
I'm always excited to be up in Canada. I've gone up there for several times for appearances. I was there for the last big card, and it's amazing. I think that we're recognized and we're popular here in the States, and it magnifies dramatically the minute we cross the border.
All right. Thanks very much, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Reed Forgrave with FoxSports.com.
This is a follow-up to one of the earlier questions for John Jones. John, could you, when you talk about your image, could you talk a little bit about kind of what you aim for your image to be, as well as how you hope that helps UFC down the road?
I think it's important to always just be yourself and always put your best foot forward. As far as my image, I don't really worry about my image too much. I'm just myself, and I'm thinking that's good enough. Being myself, I'm a pretty solid guy with good intentions, and I think a solid character and personality is just good for the UFC. Letting fans get to know us, letting these companies get to know us, letting mainstream get to know that we are college-educated guys and that we are intelligent athletes and not just guys who show up and beat each other up in the cage. Letting the world know how much training and how much education goes into each bout. So just little things like that. I do small things like media training, and I always try to make sure to have a suit on and just try to portray our sport in a positive light. I think mainstream America has a lot of learning to do about us, and being in the position that I am, I just want mainstream America to know that we're solid guys, we're class acts, capable of being mainstream individuals. I just think being a good dude would be solid, not only for myself, but for our whole sport. Something that in the back of my head before I open my mouth or before I throw jeans and a tap-out shirt on.
Do you see the image of UFC? I'm curious, have you seen the image of UFC change quite a bit since you started it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's become much more of a glamorous thing. You know, I was just at that UFC event in Toronto, and we did the red carpet at the first fight on Fox. There's just so many A-class celebrities there, and it's nuts how fast our sport's growing. We're really starting to catch up to the NBA and to the NFL, and we're right there. We're catching up fast, and I think when these major companies come looking at us, you know, I want them to know that you can trust in investing into the UFC because we're quality guys and just as much of athletes and professionals as any other pro sport. So, yeah, it's just something that I'm aware of. The importance of marketing yourself in the most positive light.
Cool. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
We'll take our final question from Elliot Oshlansky with UltimateFighter.com.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. First question is for Frank and Minotauro. With this fight coming up a week after the Ultimate Fighter finale, does it kind of take you guys back to your own time, same time of year, coaching against each other on that 8th season? Are there any specific memories that come back to you as you prepare to fight each other from that time?
Not so much particular, just because it felt like the last time you were helping the different guys from the show prepare for their fights. So I think there was more distractions leading up to my last bout with Nogueira. For the reason being that you're taking care of other guys and trying to help out, and then then once that was settled up, we had then by the time it was 2 weeks before, it hit me that okay, now it's time for me. And in this one, it's been a little bit more of a steady focus the whole time because there's been no distractions.
Derek, did you hear that question for Big Nog?
Ele perguntou da última luta, como é que você compara com essa? Foi mais ou menos a mesma época do ano. Fala um pouco das diferenças e como é que relaciona e como é que se difere.
I mean, for the last fight, we had a little bit more distraction. We were just shooting a show like a couple months before in Vegas. I was far from my place. It was kind of, hard to train over there. So when I came to Brazil, we I made my camp. I wasn't like that one. That camp is really good right now. I feel more athletic. I feel like more explosive, and I feel more confident as well. My shapes got better, and as a distraction wise, I'm more focused. And when I'm doing my training camp in Brazil, because I know my sparring partners all here. My whole team had a chance to train everyone I wanted to do and organize my training, camp. So I feel that camp is better than the last one I did it. I know Frank improved since the last time I fought him. His stand-up got better. He had some tough fights, in the past 2-3 years. But I'm in shape. I'm ready to go and feel excited to fight. That in Toronto, the people that in Canada, they support us a lot, and I feel happy to fight for them,
And one question for John. John, this has to have been an exciting time at the Jackson camp in the past few weeks, not just with obviously you've been getting ready for your title fight, and then at the other end you've had there are two Jackson fighters who are going to be fighting on Saturday at the Tough finale in Dotson and Diego Brandao. What does this do? Obviously you're at the pinnacle of the sport right now. What does it do for you, in your perspective, to be in the camp and have two guys who are just breaking into the UFC at this point in their careers?
It really doesn't. I really don't think about that too much. my whole team, I'm surrounded by a team of winners for the most part. Greg Jackson is such a very, very smart coach, and Mike Wigglejohn is an awesome Muay Thai fighter in his career. We got Diego Sanchez, Andrew Arlovsky, Cowboy Cerrone. I mean, the team is just, I can't even name all the winners that we have on our team. To have two guys in the finale, and they're really just a part of a list of just tough dudes. It's really, they really inspire me more than anything, especially guys like John Dotson. John Dotson's been a part of Jackson's MMA for about 11 years now. He's been working hard for so long, and finally he's starting to get the recognition that he deserves. So proud of him. And Diego Brandel from Brazil, he talks to me all the time about where he came from, and how he had absolutely nothing, and how all odds were against him since he was a little boy. And now, he wants to win this fight and bring that money back to Brazil and bring his mom and his sister, his mom and his brother, back here to America. I'm just so happy for him. He inspires me so much. Just to hear his story. I thought I had a tough life growing up, but compared to what he's been through, kid has my full respect, man. He's an awesome kid, and he has this fire to be great and to be a champion. That is probably some of the highest fire in the whole room, next to myself, of trying to do something awesome and never go back to what you came from. Yeah, my whole team, man, they all want to be great. They all have great people around them try to be great. We all push each other in training. None of us really stand outside of the pack of being the best because we're all so good at certain things. Cowboys, kickboxing, John Dotson's speed and versatility, Diego Brandel's power, and Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. There's just so many of us that are so good at different things. So I love my team with all my heart. And, that's why someone asked me earlier, would I bring in special for this training camp? Well, I don't need to bring in anybody special. I'm surrounded by awesome fighters at all different sizes and lengths and speeds and mindsets. So, yeah, I'm just grateful to be a part of Jackson's MMA, man. I'm blessed to be just one of them.
I'll turn the call back over to Mr. Dave Scholler.
Thank you, Jennifer, and I want to thank everybody who joined today's UFC 140 call, including Tito Ortiz, Big Nog, Frank Mir, Lyoto Machida, and UFC light heavyweight champion John Jones, as well as translator for Lyoto and Big Nog today, Derek Lee. UFC 140 Jones versus takes place Saturday, December 10th from the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Canada. Limited tickets are still available. Again, thanks to everybody in the media who joined today, and we will see you this weekend at the Palms or next week in Toronto for UFC 140. Thanks, guys.
This does conclude today's conference call. We thank you for your participation.
Oh, I got to call again.